This episode of Boys is brought to you by FatBison.com. Fat Bison Workshop is a tattooed guy in the middle of nowhere who makes custom hand-carved hardwood signs built to order. Mention the Boys podcast and get free shipping. FatBison.com. Custom hardwood signs. Bold, simple, naturally beautiful.
Episode 2.
Episode 2, like, not Return of the Jedi, fucking Empire Strikes Back. Is this our Empire? Well, I guess technically that would be 5. Is this our Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, basically.
But better than that.
So in this episode, we have our friend James Nghiem, stand-up comedian.
Extraordinaire.
Drummer,
entrepreneur, or who? An art.
What would you say? Would you say he was he's a bit of a Renaissance man?
I would say so.
But yeah, he was he's been a good friend of ours for a while.
Oh yeah,
and definitely. He has some really cool shit coming up. He's throwing a Cowboy Bebop themed art show at the Speakeasy,
51st Street Speakeasy. That's gonna be cool. His art shows are they're a great time. Not only do you get to see great art, you get to hear awesome bands. It's an interactive experience, and you get to drink, and it's just a cool time.
Seems like a good vibe. I know Erica went to his Wes Anderson art show and loved it.
Yeah, it was a great one.
I guess it was pretty pumping.
Very pumping, very, very pumping.
So yeah, he's doing really good things, and we in this episode we talk about go on a little tangent about video games, growing up playing video games. Talk about the things we talk about. It's simple.
Yeah,
and again, whoever's listening to this, I really, really appreciate giving this a chance. Kind of starting from zero. There's a million podcasts out there now. So if you are listening to this, I just want to say thank you. And, like I said in the first episode, you're getting in on the ground floor. You're going to watch this build and rise. And we really, really appreciate you. Speaking of, if you want to find us online,
you can go to boyspodcast.com. From there's links to the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter. We're doing Twitter, right?
We're doing all of it.
Okay.
And it's at Boys Podcast. There's some there's an underscore out there somewhere. But if you just go to our website, it's a hub for all things boys.
All of them.
And again, I say again like you've heard this already, but I said it in the episode we just recorded. So I'm saying this again, but you're hearing it for the first time. There is a donate button. It goes right to us. Throw a couple bucks our way. Throw some of that wonderful
hosting
green
fees
energy.
And all of that kind of stuff costs some money.
It helps getting something new started. It's hard to ask for a donation.
Sure.
But if you're feeling generous and you're enjoying this so far, or will enjoy this in the future, go to our website boyspodcast.com and also if you don't want to do that, you can go to our iTunes. Or our little spot on iTunes, leave us a review.
Sure.
Be honest. Like, you can say whatever you want. Just anything will help at this point. And without further ado,
James Nghiem.
James Nghiem
Hey.
is our guest today on the Boys Podcast.
Welcome, James.
I feel welcome. Thank you for having me.
You are our very second guest.
Very second.
Our very second. We did our first episode with Zach Smith last week. Went really well, so don't fuck it up.
I don't like following Zach. It's like a terrible routine for me.
Do you follow him? Well, first of all, you do stand-up.
Yeah.
You do many things, stand-up being one of them. And have you had to follow up? Have you had to follow Zach on stage?
I have. I think the last time it went terribly, so my memory, like, I can't do it anymore. But like it used to be fine. But the last time was maybe a year and a half ago in Stillwater, and I just had a terrible set after he had a great one. So.
How long have you been doing stand-up?
Since 2007, January 2007.
And you're part of kind of I wouldn't call it a conglomerate, but tell me, like, give me your elevator pitch.
I guess I started with 7 comics, and we all started doing stuff together. We all kind of branched out. So like my friends started OKC Comedy, and they've been bringing in, like, David Cross was last Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
They're bringing in Greg Proops next week, I think.
Cool.
And I started Robot Save City, which is like kind of a local thing. I build up local talent. We don't bring anybody in. We're
Right.
just like relish or revel in our own abilities.
Did you go to the David Cross show?
I wanted to. My mom was in town, so I had to hang out and be a person.
It was interesting. It's the first time I ever went to see comedy at the farmers market, and I guess it was OKC Comedy's like biggest show so far,
for sure.
And Zach actually, he was on last week, and we were talking about it, and he was supposed to open that show, and then I guess David Cross didn't want any openers.
He just doesn't ever have any.
Oh, does he? Is it so? This isn't just specific to this tour.
Yeah, it wasn't just a fuck you Zach thing. It was kind of like the agent just didn't check the contract, so he didn't know there was an opener. And then when David found out, I guess he was like, "Well, I don't do that." And
okay.
It was kind of
So David Cross isn't a dick.
He isn't a dick.
Okay.
No, and I saw like several
I
photos.
gotta like defend him in front of everybody.
I saw several photos on Instagram the day he was in town, and I don't know. I always thought he was kind of a sweet guy.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, maybe he doesn't come off that way on stage to some people, but when Zach told us about that, and for the record, Zach was totally cool about it. He wasn't, fuck David Cross. You know, he was like, no, I understand, just the way it is. You know, I got bumped.
Yeah.
It happens. He had a real good attitude about it. But we went to the show, Josh and I, and it was interesting. Farmers Market, you know, glad that there was a place to see David Cross, and there was a lot of people there. Very large show, but I don't know if that venue is the most conducive to stand-up comedy.
I think they're working on a couple of different ideas for larger venues. I know there was a theater they were talking to. It was like 5,000 seat theater.
Wow.
I can't remember who it was though.
Well,
Criterion?
It wasn't them. It was
Okay.
like back in the day when they were talking about trying to get in some bigger name comics.
Well, and not to talk shit on OKC Comedy. I mean, they are doing great things. They're bringing in people who would never have come here otherwise.
Yeah. Especially in the past year, it's been like Janine Garofalo, and we've had some really, really great people come through.
Brad's been ramping it up like crazy. He's started a bunch of local shows, and then it's just pretty nice being back in Oklahoma City.
Dude, that show I went to the other night at Speakeasy, it was the two headliners. Those guys were fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I mean, not, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't expecting to literally, I was going to go home. And then, fuck it, I'm staying here and laughing my ass off apparently till midnight.
Yeah, that's the level of free shows we got now are like JFL dudes and Looney Bin dudes who are just sitting around for the night. You're just like, oh, can I get a set?
But they were, yeah, I mean, but like I said, I've told you before on that, you did a podcast with me on my old one, and we talked about Looney Bin and how I've never been to a comedy club. So I have no frame of reference for comedy club shows. I've been to Speakeasy shit, obviously, and ACM shows. Well, and then you guys did them at the Arts Center at the Fairgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of theater-like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have a frame of reference for comedy club shows, and every time I hear comedy club comedians, I think of like hacky
I mean,
guys, you know?
It's hit or miss, man. Honestly,
well, those dudes were definitely hits. They were great.
It's interesting because, you know, I've been to the Looney Bin, I've been to the Arts Center, now the Farmers Market and Speakeasy, places like that, even Opolis, seen people there.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how a different room will totally set the tone for the night. Farmers Market was very open and big and loud.
Mm-hmm.
Now, David Cross, you know, he has a piercing voice at times.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it, I guess. But when he started his set, you couldn't hear him. And we weren't real close. We were about probably, 2/3 of the way back, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, it was close enough to see him. I mean, it wasn't like we were watching him on a Jumbotron or something. But about 2 minutes into his set, he was like, is this loud enough?
Yeah.
And everybody was like, turn it up, turn it up. But then the other thing is, and I, you know, being a sound guy is hard. I get that. Like, the rest of the night, it was like, when he was telling his jokes, there was like the hint of feedback coming through.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm sure the dude was just riding the fader the whole night. And then the only other thing was like, the lines for getting drinks were so incredibly long, and they had like more than one bar open.
I think they were understaffed.
They must have been. And I mean, that's the thing. Again, not trying to talk shit, because they probably didn't know what they were in for.
Yeah.
We went to Powerhouse before, which is the little bar right around the corner.
Yeah, it's a great bar.
It's a great bar. We went, and I walked in to grab a beer before the show, and the line at Powerhouse to get a beer was from the bar all the way to that side door. And I walked in, and I was just like, nope, don't need one that bad. Went outside. Then we go to get in line for David Cross, and the line is completely around the building.
Around the exterior farmers market.
Yeah.
Like,
it was insane.
It was crazy.
It sold out for sure.
Yeah.
And once the line started moving, we got in, you know, got a decent seat, I think we got 2 beers at a time because the line was so long. And you know, those bartenders were doing a great job.
All but one.
The guy that helped us, he was like,
oh,
all
that guy
business.
was on it.
Yeah,
the girl I went, and I was in her line. Apparently, she was on something, but she was having her own good time, I guess. But yeah, and I thought about the sound too. I was kind of leery about what it would sound like in such a large. I mean, I've seen a lot of shows in there. I've played shows in there, and it sounds good for bands. But I was wondering if it was going to be conducive to just a dude and a microphone.
Right.
And it eventually got to it. The only other thing that got me, not to talk about David Cross, we have a guest here, the Spotlight guy.
Okay, I do want to talk shit on the Spotlight guy.
That was...
And this reminds... Okay, going back to the premise of the show, being a kid, you know, the jumping off point or whatever. The Spotlight guy reminded me of that kid in your class that's trying to steal the spotlight from somebody doing something awesome.
It looked to me like...
What? The Spotlight guy was trying to steal the spotlight?
Dude, it was weird. Like, he would like jankily move it. Is that a word, jankily?
Jankily.
He would move it like
You think
weird
it's
and like
intentionally?
I don't know.
Artsy, he's being artsy with the spotlight?
Maybe, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna fucking make this awesome. He's gonna tell everybody about it. I'm making, like, he was heckling him with the spotlight. Like, I'm gonna enhance the show. I'm gonna give him something to make jokes about.
Right off the bat, David Cross said something like, "Okay, Mr. Spotlight guy, I'm going to give you a run for your money tonight," because he was walking around a lot.
Yeah.
And so he started running around the stage and like trying to fake out the Spotlight guy. Okay, so that's great. Move on with the set. But the other thing that I noticed, and tell me if you noticed this, you know how like the spotlights have like the gels,
The
that
filters,
you can
yeah.
slide
Yeah.
in to change the spotlight color. The dude was doing spotlight gel changes during David Cross's set. Like when I shit you not, when David Cross went into his anti-Trump rhetoric, he changed the color
a
to
red
red.
filter.
That's
Yeah.
bullshit. That's so distracting.
Yeah.
But not only was he changing the filter, he would slide it in and out, like after a punchline.
What are you doing? Like a
Yeah.
So
DJ.
you'd see like red, white, red, white, red, white. And it was like, dude, this is not a Pink Floyd laser light show.
I was really... I was sitting... When that happened, the first time I wanted to nudge you and be like... Well, I was sitting next to Steve. I wanted to be like, did David Cross give that guy instructions? Like, okay, when I start doing my Southern idiot voice, I want you to put the red gel in. I don't think he did that.
No. And I just thought, man, that Spotlight guy must just be desperate for some attention.
Yeah.
And I'm, if Mr. Spotlight guy is listening, which whatever, it's just like, dude, stop. Stop.
Maybe he just felt the challenge. He's like, David Cross fucking challenged me. I'm going to rise to the occasion. And
Yeah.
like,
And he probably, told all of his friends about it.
Like, dude, I switched gels.
gels.
I switched gels during the best punchline.
I threw him for a loop.
It was odd.
Yeah.
But good night overall.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of friendly faces, a lot of people I haven't seen in a while, a lot of OKC comics. I thought it was cool that everybody came out. I mean, almost everybody besides you.
man, it feels shitty not being there. But yeah, it
Family,
sucks.
man.
So what'd you do with your mom?
Fucking nothing. It was a terrible. Like I just watched her clean. Like I cleaned for like 2 days in preparation for her to come, and then she was like, "This isn't good enough." And I just sat there and like watched her clean and be like, "Hey, you want to hang
Your
out?"
mom cleaned your house.
Yeah, I was like, "Do you just want to get dinner?" It's like, "No, I'll cook you dinner." And then I was like, "What are you doing?" And then she didn't eat with us. I was like, "What are you doing? You're still my mom, but you don't got to do this shit anymore. Just hang out."
So she cleaned your place.
I cleaned it before she got there, though.
So she re-cleaned.
Yeah.
She gave the mom
She gave
touch.
the mom
It's
clean.
a
Yeah.
lot, though, man. Like she needs to chill out for sure.
And then cooked you dinner
She did.
and then didn't eat.
So
didn't
you...
eat.
That's a mom thing to do.
I know,
Yeah, it
and
is
I
a
miss
mom
David
thing.
Cross for it. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
What'd you eat?
She made like shrimp and asparagus or something. I also like went to Norman Music Fest the night before, which I probably shouldn't have done, but she was just like cleaning more still.
So she didn't like throw Hot Pockets in an oven. Like she made a meal.
She made a meal.
And she cleaned your house. I'd say you kind of won out.
Yeah, but
I mean, you can watch David Cross DVDs,
it's just like irritating though. It's like, hey, I'm 32. Just hang
Right.
out and have
Yeah.
a conversation with me.
Cats in the Cradle, man.
Yeah. How are you, Mom? Can't talk. Got to clean your house.
So we had some pretty hairy storms, according to the meteorologists, anyways. Last
Yeah.
night, I'm glad you survived. We all survived.
Yeah.
It got pretty hairy over here for a while. Lost power, torrential like monsoon rain, like insane winds. But it got me to thinking. We heard about that storm, this impending doom, for like the last like for 24 hours before it happened, and it showed up, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, you know, I didn't receive any damage, so it's easy for me to say that it wasn't a big deal. But Erica and I were watching Mike Morgan last night, and then we switched over to David Payne I think he's on Channel 9, and the hard-ons these guys have for
severe weather,
for destruction. Mike Morgan was throwing out terms that I've never heard, and I feel like these Oklahoma meteorologists, I feel like they're like the rock stars of local talent.
Yeah.
Or they think they are. Not that they are. But he was throwing out these weird terms like hook Johnnies, and he kept saying okay, this section up here, it's a hail, or what do you call it? Hurricane hailers. Okay, we got a hurricane hailer down here and a hook Johnny over here and a slappy Steve coming around the side. And I was like, no one knows what you're talking about, and you could just see like the pulsing veins in their necks while they're freaking out. And it got me to thinking, like, and this is kind of a hack thing, but like a weatherman is like, they can be wrong.
Yeah.
And think of all like the schools that let out early yesterday. I got to go home from work early for nothing.
Yeah.
Like just to come home and do what I normally do after work. It's like, it was so boring. You know, and I felt like it was just like a movie with no payoff. And then what's funny is if you watch like the early morning newscast the next morning, you can kind of tell that they know they fucked up. They're not going to come out and say that.
Kind of like that morning after, like, drunken sex with someone you probably shouldn't have had sex with, and that look on your face of like, oh, what did I do? What did I do?
You're not going to say you're sorry.
It's no. And you're going to be like, you're going to make them eggs, but kindly show them to the door.
That's more impulsive though. Like this, they planned for this. They knew about it. It's more of like a bad wedding or not a bad marriage. Just
like a shotgun wedding. Like we're gonna go to Vegas tomorrow and get married.
Or just like maybe you just like plan this giant date with this girl that you like think you love, and you get on the date with her, and it's like, this is fucking bad.
This sucks.
But how do you get out of it?
Yeah.
You got to ride it out. You got to ride out the storm.
You got to like
literally
veins popping, just like be into it, and then just like next day, fuck this.
It's interesting, and you know, I told Erica last night. I said, if I recorded Mike Morgan saying all this gibberish and I showed it to someone that wasn't from Oklahoma, it was like he was speaking a different language. And all for what? I mean, and don't get me wrong, I know there were some worse areas, but it wasn't like a May 3rd.
Yeah.
You know, it was a fucking storm.
I feel like part of the reason why they go so hard is because those tornadoes happen sometimes, and their conscience, like, after that, I gotta feel like they just feel like shit.
Sure.
Afterwards.
Well,
so,
they're
like,
preparing. I thought about it last night when I was watching the news and the you know, them in front of the green screen of whatever, was, you know, there's really nothing going on right now other than rain. Maybe some hail in some areas, but I told that to Diana. I was like, maybe there's like on their conscience, like it's up to them to warn people that shit is coming your way, because people died.
Right.
Like,
I feel like for sure it's like that. They've gotten progressively more intense, and I think it's like nobody's fucking dying on my watch, not this time.
Yeah, not
and
this time.
That's a very good point, and it's definitely better to be wrong than to not have somebody be forewarned, weather aware, turn around, don't drown, all these little cute sayings. Like, because like some people, especially here, like they're gonna be outside hitting golf balls in a fucking lightning storm. Like,
it's like our beers fucking preemptively weak, and our weathermen are preemptively like fucking terrified, and we just like adjust to it eventually. But like that's what it is. This is Oklahoma. People in charge are like just like fucking terrified.
I feel like that. I was telling a coworker yesterday about that. I was like, "You ready for the storm?" He's like, "Dude, we're in Oklahoma. Like, there's a 90% chance that nothing's gonna happen."
Yeah.
When you're raised in it, it's like not that bad. Like you've had friends who from out of town who come in. They're like, is it bad? Is it bad? Like, dude, no, it's gonna be fine. We are fine.
Dude, these comics from LA came in one time with Leah, and like they were playing Athopolis, and they were staying with her.
And Norman.
Yeah, it was like last year. And man, they were fucking shaking. Like this girl, she couldn't stop shaking during her set. And it was like 4 hours later. It was like, chill out, you're alive. It's like, it wasn't that bad.
well, there's something to be said from being from Oklahoma. Are you from Oklahoma?
I'm from Oklahoma.
So you were born and raised here.
Mercy Hospital.
Hey, same here. And this is how bad at adulting I am, which I hate that term, but I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know what hospital I was born in until yesterday. And my dad told me Mercy, so I was like, cool, okay, it's not that far from here.
And it just came up in conversation.
Yeah. I don't remember. Oh, because we were talking about the weather. And then I don't know my blood type.
I don't know mine either.
I don't know if I were bleeding out and some, blood collector came by and was like, what you got? What you need? I got it. I was like, I don't know. Just mix it all up and give me a little bit of everything.
So do you remember that the fad? It was a diet fad a few years ago. It was the eat right for your blood type.
I remember hearing something.
And I was working at the bookstore then, and the book was there, and it's like, man, I want to do that. And then realized I don't know my blood type. So I asked my parents, like, do you know what blood type I am? And they're no, I don't. My parents don't know my blood type. It's not listed on your birth certificate.
Is it on your driver's license?
No.
I don't think so.
Whoa.
No. So I'd have to get a blood test, and they have to check it.
It's on your birth certificate, isn't it?
Is it?
Wait, do they take baby's blood as soon as they come out?
I think that'd be dangerous.
They just like stab the placenta.
But yeah, that's something you think you would know, right?
I don't know. But being from Oklahoma, did it not seem like when we were kids, and maybe because I was raised in a single wide trailer in the middle of Choctaw.
Yeah.
But it just seemed like storms were worse back then. Or maybe just because I was a kid and I was scared.
Well, we grew up in Choctaw.
It seemed like they were more frequent, at least. Like
Very much more
bad
frequent.
storms. Like I remember losing my electricity
Yeah.
hundreds of times growing up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like we've been living here like 4 years, and that was the very first time our powers ever went out during a storm. And we've been through some pretty crappy storms. I mean, we've been in the neighbor's storm shelter a couple times.
Our city's better too. Like, I mean, when you're a kid, you can't tell your city's better because you just know your house. But
Right.
like, man, the city's definitely gotten better.
That's probably a lot to do with it. I remember being a kid and in our little single wide trailer, and that thing was just rocking.
Yeah.
And I was scared shitless as a kid. Tornadoes always scared me so bad. There was one time when I was in my room playing Nintendo, and I think my sister was in the room with me, and my mom busted in her nightgown. She's like, we got to go across the street to the neighbors, because they had a shelter and we didn't back then. And I remember walking down our dirt driveway across our gravel private road we lived on out there and seeing the tornado coming.
Yeah.
And you don't realize how immense and scary that is. Like you see it on TV or you've seen Twister or whatever, but when you see one in person that's like, even if it's not coming towards you, but it's like, on the horizon or closer, scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like I just remember feeling so sick in my core that I felt like I was going to throw up.
Yeah.
Because it's going to rip your house down, take your Nintendo and all your games, and just change your life for the worse for the rest of your life.
I like how you led with, it's going to take my Nintendo.
No, but then end that with, it's gonna ruin your life.
But
because it's gonna take your Nintendo games.
The Nintendo was all I had back then. I was a white trash kid,
Don't take my Nintendo, Lord.
That's why I collect that shit now. Is because I never had all the cool stuff when I was a kid.
For sure.
So like,
Yeah.
I'm a product of that, I guess.
I just download ROMs. That's how I live out my childhood.
ROMs are tight.
I've never done that.
Old
Dude,
systems.
it's badass.
Yeah.
Old systems. Like I got a buddy of mine gave me a Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis. I've been tracking this game down forever, but like for a copy of Shadowrun on Sega Genesis in the box, like a complete in box,
Yeah.
CIB, it's like $50 or $60,
Like regular price, like childhood prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my buddy, I posted something online about looking for this game, and he replied to me, and he was like, I actually, for some reason, have 2 copies of that game. You're welcome to have it. And I was just like, oh God, I felt like a kid. I was like, oh my God. So I left work and like played hooky for a little bit to go get this game. And I bring it home and I throw it in my Sega Genesis, fire it up. And like, even on this old CRT TV I have in here, it just looks shitty.
The
It's
game?
like
Yeah.
fuzzy.
Yeah, it's
like
grainy.
my connectors are bad, or maybe the system's dirty or something. I don't know. But you pull up a ROM and it's beautiful. It's like every pixel is perfect. And I'm not a huge collector, but I am trying to just put these little pieces together of things I either wanted when I was a kid or had when I was a kid and had since gotten rid of. And it's fun. Collecting is fun.
Yeah.
Do you collect anything?
I collect pirated ROMs, apparently.
You have thousands?
Yeah, I mean, I got like random shit. Like I've been playing the Final Fantasy VII remake on Nintendo. Like these Russian programmers made Final Fantasy VII, and it's terrible. And then these guys on the internet hacked it and made it good. Like it's like a pretty accurate representation of Final Fantasy VII.
Is it 7 but put to like a sprite
Yeah,
type game?
it's 8-bit. It runs on a Nintendo. Like it could run on a Nintendo if you had a flash cart.
But it's the 7 story.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
I have a copy if you want it. It's intense. I've never actually played Final Fantasy 7, so like this is my first experience with it, and I'm like, whoa, I can see why people like this.
I recently picked up one of those small PlayStation 1s, like the little 2.0 ones, and I got the little flip-up screen. Because, again, when I was a kid, I always wanted that
you wanted
shit.
that fucking shit that nobody wanted.
Dude, I wanted it so bad.
Nobody has that.
Did you want the Game Boy that had the magnifying glass
and the speakers,
and the light on it,
and the joystick?
And it just kills your 6 AA batteries you got to put in it?
I can't remember off the top of my head what that was called, but I remember the speakers folded out.
Yeah.
And then it had a magnifier light
I
and then
remember
the
that picture.
joystick. Yeah, dude.
So you can play, at night.
Game Boys were so big back then. Like, I never had one. I always wanted one. And then when I saw one, I was like, this is fucking giant. It's like probably
Heavy.
like 5 pounds.
Yeah, and imagine, and they used to eat batteries too. So like, again, being a white trash kid, batteries,
Expensive.
man, didn't have that in the house. Never had a fucking battery. When
No,
I
got a Game Boy for Christmas when I was a kid, and it came. What was wrapped on top of it was a giant box of batteries. So I got batteries and a Game Boy and 2 games, Mario and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Those are the only 2. Well, Tetris. I had 3 games, and that's all I ever had. Ever.
That's fucking cool though. Like you played those games, like having all these ROMs or you collect all this shit. Like you play it for like 2 seconds or whatever.
Do you play like current gen stuff? Are you into any of that shit?
I'm trying to. My brother, he lives in China right now. He's like teaching or whatever. And he left his PlayStation 4, so I have it. And he sent a copy of like Metal Gear and like Street Fighter, and I just haven't played them yet, honestly.
It's interesting as you get older. Like I always go back and forth in my brain because I like video games.
Yeah.
Always have, probably always will. But as a 35-year-old guy, like for instance, I came home today and I got a PS4 and I've been playing Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
Picked it up on sale, blah blah blah, whatever. But it's beautiful. The graphics are beautiful. The story's great. The interface is new and beautiful. And it's all the things about video games that I wished for as a kid.
Yeah.
But as a 35-year-old male, doesn't matter if I'm a male, as a 35-year-old, I'm like sitting there playing this, and the thought crosses my mind every now and then. I should be doing something else.
Yeah.
Like, you should be like mowing or sculpting or something.
Why do you have to fall into gender norms, Rob?
I should be baking.
Sure.
I should be ironing. Just something,
Something other than playing a game that is going to do nothing.
There's this freeware software called Twine, and you can make video games with it, but it's just like choose your own adventure text games, but you can like make some pretty artsy shit with it. And every time I'm playing a video game, I was like, I think in my brain I should download Twine
and make one
and make a game that's like fucking impactful.
Be the creator,
yeah,
and not the consumer.
Yeah,
And it's hard for me. My brain always goes a million miles an hour. So even if I'm engaged in a game, like going back, the last game that I really got engaged with was Fallout 4.
Yeah.
I was stoked about it. I've loved the Fallout series. 4 was the first one for the next gen systems. I got it, started playing it. For like the first week, I played that shit every night for hours, And then the same thing happens that always happens. I don't play it for a night. And then a couple nights go by and I don't play it. And this goes back to, I got my copy of Final Fantasy 7 sitting over there. You don't play it for a week or so, and then you come back and you're like, okay, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah.
And what character build did I go with, and how do I approach these enemies without getting creamed?
Those games are so complex now. It's like you can't just like that's all. I only can play like Street Fighter these days. Like Street Fighter, like NBA 2K, like you just jumping in and
play.
Right.
The fun one. The ones that are just like they're just dumb fun games.
Yeah, that's what games are. That's what I like about games. I don't know what other people like about games.
Well, you like games especially specifically Street Fighter, that you did an art show.
Yeah.
Based on it. That was a really cool art show.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was fun.
I didn't make it because I'm a homebody curmudgeon.
Man, I'm trying to bring like people back into playing games together. I don't know. That's not what I'm doing actually at all. I'm trying to bring people together. But that night, that's what I was trying to do.
Tell me Tell me what that was all about.
The Street Fighter one?
Yeah.
I think part of it, like originally when I came up with these ideas, is like I don't like living in Los Angeles, but there are aspects of Los Angeles I miss. Like they have crazy shit like that all the time. Like I was walking around, there's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle art show, and I was like, this is fucking badass. And then when I moved back to Oklahoma, I was like, how come this fucking shit doesn't happen? Like, it can easily happen.
Yeah.
And then my friends are like, who are artists, they're just sitting around not being artists, and like, you can't do any of that shit here. I'm like, no, you can.
You just got to do it.
Just do it. And then we put that show together, and that was the first one, and it was like, it wasn't as polished as the next ones are.
But it was a success.
It was a success,
Yeah.
and people are excited. They're sitting around playing Street Fighter in a fucking bar
Dude,
off old tube TVs.
That was so badass.
See, I think that you nailed it, though, James. Like, you're bringing in a little bit of nostalgia,
yeah.
which is the common thread that everybody gets to, like,
Yeah.
share. But you're also showcasing art,
Yeah.
which is cool. And, you did it at the Speakeasy, correct?
Yeah.
Which is a pretty good venue all around. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen great music there. I love seeing stand-up there when I can.
Yeah.
I like to have a beer there.
Yeah.
An art show sounds like a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had my birthday party there last year. Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of my go-to, I guess.
Yeah, that's mine for sure.
I've kind of decided that that's like like Plaza District's a thing, Mesta Park's a thing, and like fucking I don't know what all the new districts are, Paseo and shit.
Yeah.
That is like the unofficial dive bar district of Oklahoma to me. It's like
Right.
Edna's, Drunken Fry, High-Low.
Oh yeah,
And
that's the triangle, the beer
Yeah.
Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
Did you make that up?
No, it's what it's called. It's called
Yeah.
the Bermuda Triangle.
Some people call it the corner. I
The
call
corner,
it
yeah.
the Bermuda Triangle. He called it the
Bermuda, yeah.
Okay.
But like Speakeasy on the outskirts of that, but they all work together, and like that's my district, I
And
guess.
you
Yeah.
got another one coming up,
Yeah.
right? Tell me about that.
It's Cowboy Bebop themed. Yeah. What do you want to know?
I want to know the dates. I want to know what's going on. I want to know.
It's
I want to know it all.
June 25th. I think we have like 24 pieces of art right now, or 24 pieces of art in the works. We're trying to get more. We're taking submissions. We're taking a commission this time on the art, but it's only like a $5 flat fee. So like artists, like we're not taking that much from them.
Right.
And, like people, like we're not getting in between that relationship. But we're gonna donate the money to Oklahoma Food Bank to raise money for kids and stuff.
Awesome.
And like,
So you're not just pocketing it.
No, we're not doing that at all. I'm not into that. I can't like. I feel like it'd be really shitty because I didn't create Cowboy Bebop. I didn't create Street Fighter. I didn't create Wes Anderson when we did the Wes Anderson one or Wes Anderson movies. So I feel shitty about profiting off of it.
Well,
Sure.
but it sounds like you're doing something good. Not only donating the money, but like I said earlier, like bringing people together,
Yeah.
kind of doing something different.
I'm trying to book the bands specific to the shows too, so like people who would like those bands would like see those bands and like get into them and like get some new fans or like shift the energy around, and the artists can build a new following for themselves, and the Speakeasy can build a following for themselves.
For sure. What I really liked about I went to both shows. I mean, the Street Fighter was the first one, so I mean there was a crowd, but what I noticed is the people who were there, I've never seen them out. There are people that probably don't even go out.
Yeah.
And then they're out and they're playing Street Fighter, but they're also going to a bar
Yeah.
and talking with other people who like the same thing. And the Wes Anderson was even bigger.
Yeah.
And the same thing, maybe people don't really get out or go to Speakeasy or see a lot of bands or whatever, and they get to interact in that way.
Yeah.
And the art was just amazing. And
Yeah.
like, I noticed a lot of them were getting like just bid out from under people. Like,
Yeah.
I got bid out on like 2 different things I wanted to get.
We sold so much. They sold so much art.
so
it was
crazy.
fucking awesome.
And
Okay.
the Cowboy Bebop is going to be doing the same thing.
We got we got food this time too, or we're
Heck
gonna have like a
yeah.
Cowboy Bebop menu and shit, like
Nice.
just for the night, and like
Now, when you say bid out, so do you like go around and be like, I would give $25
No,
for
no,
that?
the
And
art
somebody
will like say it'll be framed art on the wall, and they'll have the artist name, the name of the piece, and how much it is, and then a phone number to text them.
yeah,
The artists
That's
were
smart.
there, so you text them. You say, I want to get that piece. Oh, it just got bought or whatever.
Oh, okay. So you mean just somebody just came in and sniped it?
Sniped
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Okay, I got
a
you.
lot of those.
I'm gonna be probably handling all those sales this time because it's like it was really disorganized last time, so I'm like all these shows are getting built up to where they're like more and more legit. Like the Street
Yeah.
Fighter one was way loose and fun,
Yeah.
and that was my favorite one actually, but it also wasn't run as well as
Oh, no,
this Wes
it was a
Anderson
bunch
show.
of people playing, literally playing video games.
Yeah.
Bar 4 was just filled with TVs, and that private room where we had your birthday, that big screen, they were playing Street Fighter Alpha.
Four.
Four.
Yeah.
And if you haven't played that game, it's intense. It's a very intense version
There's
of
just
Street Fighter.
one dude whooping the shit out of everybody,
Yeah.
and like 40 people watching this dude just kick the fuck out of everybody.
But doesn't
It was
that
great.
take going back to nostalgia? Doesn't that take you back to waiting in line for your turn to get your ass kicked at Mortal Kombat when you were a kid.
I feel like it was more accurate to the feeling of an arcade than actual barcades these days.
For sure.
And like people were stoked. Like I remember my friend was like, I got 5 matches in today. He was like amped up like crazy and was like drunk as shit. Like I don't know.
I was really waiting for someone to do that. Like, I mean, what I always did, I was a really sore loser at games like that. That throw the remote down like, fuck this game, or my controller's broken. It wasn't. They were all really good at it, kicking each other's ass, except that one dude.
I was never good at those games. Like I could beat the game like at home on the console.
Yeah.
But if I ever played somebody, it just takes me back to the roller skating rink in Choctaw. They had it was the first place I ever saw Mortal Kombat 2.
Yeah.
And that was at the height of me being like into video games when I was a kid. And there was this, I can't remember the guy's name, but there was this one guy. He was a few years older than me, and he just dominated. It was like him on the left stick and a line of kids on the right stick. And the dude never lost. It was kind of creepy, though, because he was a little bit older than all of us. We were all like, 14 or so or whatever. And this guy was probably like 20.
Yeah.
And like he didn't have his roller skates on. Like he didn't come there to skate. He came there to kick the asses of kids.
Wasn't that also the time when MK was only available in arcade form?
No, the first one came out on Sega and Super Nintendo, and then 2 came out, and then that was kind of the way things went back then. It came out on the arcade, then the slightly dumbed down console.
And sometimes they didn't come out. You're just wondering if they would or not, or like I don't know.
But it would take me back to the days of putting your quarter up there on the screen, like I got next.
Dude, I was terrible, but I used to watch my older brother go and like, man, it was badass. Like I used to watch him play dudes all day at the mall, like a mall rat, like at Quail Springs Mall, just park and play. Or we'd go to Just for Fun, and then we'd like use a copy machine to copy coupons and get way more tokens, scam them out of tokens, which is terrible, but
punk
whatever.
Rock. That's smart.
No,
yeah, super smart. Did you ever go to Aladdin's Castle?
I did go to Aladdin's Castle.
That was my favorite.
the one that at one time it had a fucking bumper cars in there.
Yeah, it did, in the back corner, yeah.
And I actually worked there in probably, gosh, I can't even remember. It's probably like 99 or 2000 maybe.
Yeah, you were probably like 16 or 17
maybe even 18, but it was when it was going down. Not just LeMans, but the whole mall.
Yeah.
But man, being around video games all day.
Yeah.
And like the job sucked. I had to clean up puke all the time. And it's one thing to clean up your own puke or a friend's puke or your girlfriend, wife, whatever, but to clean up some hot dog breath kid's birthday cake puke was like the lowest of low. And then after that, my boss, who was like this old, like oily, do you remember John Leguizamo as the Violator in the movie Spawn? He looked just like that, no makeup.
Oh, wow.
And he'd be like, okay, get in there and clean up the girl's bathroom. And I go in, and that Le Mans hadn't been updated in many, many years. So the women's bathroom, instead of having like a proper receptacle for like used tampons, they had like a metal bucket built into the wall. And we had special tongs in the janitor closet where you'd have to go pull out all the used tampons. And we didn't, he was too cheap to buy us like proper trash bags. So we had to use like the cups for the tokens.
This is like the dark side of Disneyland.
It was disgusting. So it looked like a bloody bloomin' onion sticking out of the cup by the end of it.
That's gross.
No gloves.
Okay, we get it.
Out of gloves.
That's so gross.
I'm just trying to set the scene.
A mixture of tampons.
but
it's not even just a singular person's.
But then you
like,
got
used tampons. It's like the world's tampons.
everybody's tampon.
Old, young, large, small.
But did you at least get tokens to play Sweet Sweet Afterburner?
No.
Oh, damn, that sucked.
Afterburner was tight.
I loved
Space Harrier?
It was Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yeah.
When he's playing Afterburner, like, I want to play that game. And they only had it at Aladdin's Castle, and I played that shit all. I was terrible at it.
I thought you were going into the segue about Terminator 2, the arcade game.
I played that shit too.
Well, I didn't get tokens, but the silver lining was I had a key to every machine in the place.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is I would go around and like unlock, like right before close, I would unlock the 3 games I really like to play.
Hit the hot switches.
Yeah, like Tekken Tag, games like that. And yeah, I'd hit that hot switch and pump about 20 credits in it. And then while I was supposed to be vacuuming, I'd just like leave the vacuum running next to the machine and play and get around in. And, not to show my age, but like I've always loved Galaga. Like I like the simplicity. I love I just love the music. I love the video. I love all of it. So Galaga was always the one I played. I would play that shit constantly. And like I eventually quit because I just couldn't handle the trashy, methed out people that worked there with me.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of Galaga in. And the other cool thing was like I'd like look over my shoulder and I'd try to be the cool guy every now and then. And I would like if I saw a kid playing a game, I'd be like, hold on, and I'd unlock it and I'd give him a couple credits. pop about 5.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, give you a fighting chance with this dude or whatever.
But it felt good, man. It felt good. And I remember they had like TVs all throughout the place, and they would play music videos and like blast them over the sound system. And it was Red Hot Chili Peppers' Californication. Like that was a big song at the time. And Wheatus, Teenage Dirtbag.
Teenage Dirtbag, dude. My band used to cover that when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah.
My high school band.
It was a tight song. Come on. Like
I had to do the girl voice, like, because I had the highest voice in the band.
Nice.
Tight.
Yeah.
So it felt good to kind of like give these kids, some credits. Like, here, this is on me. You're cute.
Enjoy.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
We've got a brand spanking new website because we're a brand spanking new podcast. It's boyspodcast.com. And from there, you can go to all of our social media, take you to our Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And you can also email us at boyspodcast@aol.com. And if you feel the need to IM us,
we're there.
I'm very interested to get this shit started.
Yeah, for sure. And also on our website, we have a donate button. It does not go to hungry children. It goes to me and Josh.
Our filthy pockets.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
So
just
keep making cool art. I'm cool.
We, if you do want to donate, go to boyspodcast.com. Throw us a couple bucks. $1 is fine. $5 is better. Whatever.
$100. So it's whatever you feel like giving them, just generosity.
It'll help us pay for things like bandwidth, web hosting, all that fun shit, And James, how can somebody look you up and all the cool shit that you're doing?
I run Robot Save City. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook, or you can just add me on Facebook. I'll add you for the most part. If you send me a message to make sure you're not a robot, I'll add you for fucking sure.
Do you get robots?
I get a lot of robots.
Do you think it's a robot looking for another robot?
Don't think so.
A robot friend wanting a robot. Okay, I've been getting a lot of friend requests on Facebook from hot girls that have 2 mutual friends.
Yeah.
And it's always like
the worst dudes.
Is worse the right word, or is it maybe like the sad dudes?
Probably.
The sad
I'm like,
dudes?
dude, do I know this person? Because going back, I've done a lot of drugs and drinking in my life. I may have met some people that I don't quite remember.
Yeah, I see the spam. Like, it's always like I call it the MySpace angle girl with like titties out, duck lips,
Yeah.
And of course, your first instinct.
Yeah, except
The first instinct is always, I'm gonna click and take a little look here. Is this real? I hope it's real. But there's always like one photo.
Yeah.
And like the most generic.
It's a real girl somewhere. I mean, she's not adding you, but like there's an angel that exists that doesn't know she's being exploited.
It's
the girl in the photo,
Yeah.
for sure, that's a real person.
They just lifted that from like 4chan or something.
Yeah.
Like some sad, depraved place. But yeah, going back, you'll see the hot booby girl or whatever. And then you see like, I'm not going to name any names, but there's always 2 people that I always see that took the bait. And it's like, what are you thinking? Do you really think, oh man, I'm going to bang her?
If there's 10 mutual friends, I usually add them. I just assume they're a comic. I'm like, oh, they're probably a comedian.
It's, yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can say is, yeah, sure.
So you got a story for us, James?
What do you want to know?
I want to know about you. I want to know about you growing up, what it was like, all of that shit, man. Let's dive in.
Pick an age.
8.
8. Okay.
8 to 10.
8 to 10. I grew up in Oklahoma City. My parents worked a lot, so I never really saw them, and I hung out with my grandparents a lot. Yeah.
That's interesting. I was kind of raised by my grandma.
Yeah.
My dad worked nights. My mom was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't a good time for Robbie Ray. So my grandma was basically my mom growing up.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel about don't tell my mom that. I mean, my mom kind of knows, but even though my mom, I don't, whatever.
She cleaned your house and fed you.
Yeah, I know. She's still my mom.
She's
but
trying to make it right now.
My grandma was like, I love my grandma a lot. But yeah, I grew up in their house. They weren't really used to like, I don't know, they're terrified of America, I guess. Like, I mean, not like terrified of America, but they're terrified living here, just specifically because they don't speak the language or whatever.
Now, were your parents born here?
No,
Okay.
I'm first generation, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I'd hang out at their place, and I don't speak Vietnamese very well, and we'd watch wrestling together. Like, they don't, because it's the only thing we could watch together, and they really like wrestling. Like, I'm pretty sure to this day, my grandpa thinks wrestling is real.
Like WWF?
Yeah, like he loves, like, he'd watch Hogan matches, and when people start cheating, he'd get fucking really pissed and like hit the TV. And he's a calm dude. Like he never gets mad, but he'd get really amped up about that. So growing up, yeah, my grandma was into it too.
That's adorable.
That is adorable. There's not a lot of grandmas into wrestling.
Yeah.
No. Roddy Piper.
She'd tell me who she thought was handsome. She'd be like DDP. She'd be like Dap Jai. Like that guy's handsome. I'm like him, and I'd like look at. I was like, I like him. He's like my favorite wrestler, but
handsome.
I don't think he's handsome. DDP.
So did your parents work like separate shifts, or were they both working during the day?
They both worked during the day, but they ran a clinic together. So like they're just like all like they drop us off at school, and then we wouldn't see them till like 6 or 7. They pick us up, and we go eat dinner, and then go to sleep.
And you have an older brother?
Yeah, I got one older brother, one younger.
And what was it like being in the middle?
I mean,
It
I don't
sucks.
know. I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Oh, you're in the middle too.
I'm a middle, yeah.
I don't know if we picked it up because we're all like kind of like we grew up with our grandparents and our parents were never around, so we never
Right.
like got favorites or anything. For my older brother, he definitely got a lot of responsibility put on him, so it was definitely different. But being in the middle wasn't. It wasn't like my younger brother was getting like cool shit and I wasn't or whatever. We fought a lot though, for sure.
Like fist fight?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure.
Like how bad? Like bad? Because I remember, I was the older brother to
Yeah.
a younger sister, and being pretty much raised by my grandma, filling that like maternal role. I was a grandma's boy.
Yeah,
Like I can't tell you how many times she would take me to the mall and buy me that brand new crispy corn T-shirt that I wanted.
yeah,
You know, or the shell toes or the wide legs,
yeah.
the Jinkos or whatever. And she'd pull her little, card out of her purse and don't tell your grandpa about this. And I'd be flossing the next Monday at school.
Yeah. Thanks, Grandma.
We'd get like, I mean, we're getting it from all angles. So like, my dad would be like, he's pretty strict. Everybody talks about my dad. Talks about he's the most laid back dude ever, and they love him. And but like growing up, I was like, that dude, he's strict as fuck. And then my
Now-
mom too. Like she's the nicest lady, man. They're intense. And my grandparents too, honestly. Except my grandpa, he was like.
So wait,
old
like
ass.
like friends of yours would say this about them, or
Yeah, they'd be like
okay.
your dad's cool, and they say that to this day. Like I was fucking like crying the other day, like at the pump. Like I was hanging out with Cameron, and I guess he just moved to the Asian district, and like my dad passed away like 6 years ago.
Horse thief Cameron?
No, Cameron Buckholtz from
Oh, okay,
Oklahoma
Cameron
City
Buckholz,
Comedy.
okay.
Yeah, and he was just telling me the story about like I don't know how it came up, but we're just drinking, and he was just like, man, I moved to the Asian district, and everybody here like knows your dad, and like it kind of reminds me of like how when you walk around Campus Corner, everybody knows you. It's like kind of cool. It's like your father's son or whatever, and like I just started bawling, but like living with him as a kid, he just like is intense, for sure.
Were there differences in, and I'm just asking as your token white bread Oklahoma boy. But, what are some differences in being raised in like a Vietnamese family as opposed to my white trash trailer rocking and Nintendo?
I think it might be this. It might be pretty more
Is it?
similar than you think, honestly.
I just wonder because different. If they were not raised here, I would imagine that some things carry over.
Yeah.
That tradition is different here, or
Nah, I'm sure there are, but my dad smoked all the time and drank Milwaukee's Best and watched Chiefs games. Like
that
just
sounds like an
fucking-
American. To
Yeah.
me. Yeah, totally.
I mean, he read a lot too. I don't know. It's hard to say. My mom was pretty like she's really nice, and I don't know. She didn't do any of that stuff. She gardens. I don't know. That's mom shit.
Yeah, it's
Mom
American
shit.
mom shit. Yeah.
American mom shit. So there's an elephant in the room, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, but Prince died.
Yeah.
And I hate to be too topical. We
Sure.
Going into this podcast, we talked about, Josh and I had a meeting, and we were like, we want it to be evergreen. We don't want to be too topical. I'm not going to sit here and talk about my hatred for Donald Trump for an hour, because in a year from now, if somebody stumbles upon this, they're not going to want to listen to that. But I think Prince dying is worth talking about for a minute. I'm not going to try to come off like I was a big Prince fan. I don't own any of his music. I don't know much about him.
Yeah.
But that was a biggie. Bowie was a biggie.
Yeah.
Prince is a biggie. And I'm wondering, like,
Haggard
was a biggie, and
yeah.
I probably know more about Merle Haggard than I do Prince.
Was that?
Lemmy.
A lot of biggies.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
It was funny because the other night I was staying up late, hanging out after Erica went to bed, and SNL this last Saturday they did a tribute to Prince, and they just showed all of his performances on the show, like from the beginning chronologically to the last one.
Yeah.
And then they put a couple of skits in there that like Fred Armisen did a Prince,
right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
But the performances, and like, you're a musician. We're all musicians to a degree in here, and watching Prince perform, I never really paid attention to that, because when I thought Prince before he passed away, I thought, the cover of Purple Rain. Or like the pictures of him in his underwear,
Sure.
Dave Chappelle skit.
Sexual, flamboyant, yeah.
Scrawny sex machine, right? Not sure where he's putting it.
Yeah.
Everywhere, probably.
Everywhere, for sure.
Everywhere.
He's also like, isn't he like a fucking Jehovah's Witness dude?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
From what I heard, he was pretty straight and narrow.
Very much straight and narrow, yeah. We won't know until they actually come out with the report. But they think that might be, the word is, that might be why he passed on. He had the flu. The theory is he had the flu and wouldn't get medical attention because he's Jehovah's Witness and they don't do that.
Oh, shit.
So not taking care of it and being 57.
I remember hearing about the Jehovah's Witness when I was young.
Yeah.
And I heard that very thing. They don't take medical attention. They
Yeah.
don't take any drugs.
No.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
And even as a kid that was raised in church, I thought, what a bunch of fucking idiots. Like, if you're sick, if you have a cold, take some cold medicine and get over it. You're not going to hell because of technology and modern medicine.
But, like, maybe from their perspective, it's probably like, if I die, maybe I should be going to heaven faster, which is, like, terrible for everybody.
If it's my time to go, it's my time to go kind of a thing, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
People used to die over, like, headaches and shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they would get a cut on their hand and die. Because there was no antiseptic.
Yeah.
And where do you draw the line? Like, do Jehovah's Witnesses not take aspirin?
No, nothing.
Nothing? Zero?
Nothing.
Is that not a little mind-blowing?
That's a little weird.
It's crazy for sure.
Especially for Prince, going from a dude who wrote a song, multiple songs and albums about fucking. All of his songs are about jizzing on, in, and around orifices.
But that's like the amount of swagger he possibly had, because like
true.
that's like my drunk swagger maybe.
Yeah.
And then like he's just like that.
Like, put him behind a mic, that's him.
Yeah.
But then away from the mic, he's like, nah, man, I can't do that stuff.
So
no, but like maybe he's just that like he's like always ready to fuck. Even like he doesn't need social lubrication. He's just wet. His brain is wet.
wet brain.
Wet
I like
brain.
that. Yeah, Prince had a wet brain. So going back to the performances, like I said, I knew he played guitar. I knew he was a good songwriter. But watching those, again, it was very late at night, and I cranked it up, and I thought, this is my Prince moment. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be on social media. It's not going to be a selfie with me with the record.
Just going to enjoy it.
I'm going to sit down. I'm going to put my phone face down on the table, and I'm going to watch this. Luckily, it was on DVR, so I could fast forward through the commercials and get like the experience.
Sure.
And I mean, whether you love or hate SNL, like musical guests on there,
huge.
Musical guests. That's a rip. Anyway, but, musical guests, they usually sound pretty good. Like it's well shot, it's well captured. It's not a cell phone cam at the Doritos bowl or whatever.
Yeah, it's pro shot.
The sound's always really good too.
So I'm watching these, and I'm like, damn, this dude is something else, man. Never never seen somebody shred like that. Like,
yeah.
So
while
good.
gyrating and like making love to the air around him the entire time.
He's Prince.
Dude,
His
yeah,
name
dude.
is Prince.
And I had a Prince moment. I was like, fuck, man, I get it. And I wasn't trying to go back and be like, oh yeah, I've liked him all along.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, I get it. And I get why this is so sad and important, you know?
Do you remember when we played the Super Bowl? It was right after.
Oh yeah.
And like
A couple, 2 or 3 years ago, right?
yeah, maybe a little bit longer than
Longer
that.
than that?
It's like he covered that Foo Fighters song and they put
Yeah.
that silhouette down and he like bent back and like leaned his guitar neck up and it was like a boner.
It looked
Yeah.
like a curved dick, man. It was awesome. Like, and only he could probably get away with something
Yeah.
like that. Like if the dude from Maroon 5 tried to do that, it would be like whack. you
Yeah.
know?
Dude, he was amazing. And his custom guitar that he had, that thing was fucking.
It was 80s as shit.
It was and wasn't the headstock like the symbol for man, like the man woman symbol?
Yeah, it was.
He was something else.
Even
man.
the color purple, like it's iconic for him,
sure.
and like nobody
Wait,
can
the
wear,
color purple?
just like the color. The
I thought you
actual,
meant the movie.
not the movie.
I was like, Prince wasn't in that.
The,
man.
the literal actual color purple,
Yeah.
like it's iconic. I mean,
Yeah.
he made it iconic, but nobody can rock purple. I can't wear purple.
Purple's my favorite color. And when I was having my Prince moment, I went into my closet and I put on all purple.
Did you?
And I held my penis
So tight that it would
tightly at the base until it turned purple.
And then you made a purple rain.
It was more of a pearl, but
Pearl.
Diamonds and pearls.
This is like morning radio right now.
Yeah.
Pearl. Nah, doing it.
but it got me to thinking. This whole Prince thing was, you know, like I said, we've had some biggies this year.
Mhm.
Bowie, you know, Lemmy, Prince. Well, I'll include Merle Haggard. That was huge.
Sure.
Even though he was probably a racist.
Yeah.
At one point in his life, Merle
Sure.
Haggard probably said the N-word, like,
and meant it.
and
Yeah.
meant it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was also, I mean, I hate to say, like, he's old, fucking old people die. But you and I had this conversation the other day. It's not so much like, it's getting past the point of like, oh, another great one's fallen. It's now getting to the point of, okay, now I'm going to die. Like, it's
I'm
making
human.
mortality very, very real. And
Yeah.
I've been dealing with that for a long time, probably since I hit 30, 34 now. I'll go to a movie and I get freaked out about going to movies because every now and then I'll go to a movie and it hit me in the theater. Like, I look at my wife and I'm like, one day I'm gonna die and she's gonna be alone, or she's gonna die and then I'm gonna be alone, and it gets super real. So then when these people die, everyone's like, it's so sad. I'm like, but we're all going to die.
Right.
We are all going to die.
And that's exactly kind of my takeaway from the whole Prince thing is, number one, when you were younger, we're still young, relatively. We're not a bunch of Merle Haggards sitting here, or even Princes. But when you're young and a biggie dies, like Kurt Cobain, for example, I
Yeah.
was
Sure.
like 13 or 14 when he died.
Yeah.
And you know, it was sad. Oh my gosh, but it was a completely different perspective as to now.
Mm-hmm.
Like when David Bowie dies of cancer, or Prince, you know, either died because he wouldn't
However,
take medicine,
yeah.
or I've heard that not to go off on a tangent, but I saw something on Facebook about like there's allegedly he OD'd on Percocet or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what do you believe? And what scumbag raced to their computer to put that out?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
hours after he died.
Yeah, that's
Remember when
fucked up.
like Brittany Murphy died and everybody thought it was OD and it was just like fucking mold in her house? And,
Yeah,
like,
that shit's scary. Well, there's also a conspiracy theory that she was murdered and taken out by the Illuminati.
I
so
don't
there's
know
too.
that one. I haven't heard-
What?
I haven't heard
Because her
that one.
husband died the week after that.
But they lived in the same house. It was the mold.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Jeez.
That's
No, but that's scary. Like, I get paranoid about shit like that. Like, now I'm like, do I need to check my fucking house and make sure I got mold shit?
There's mold everywhere.
I
There's
know.
mold in this very room.
And she was a billionaire and died from mold.
Billion?
Millions, maybe.
Okay, I don't know about
Billion?
Clueless money, you know.
True.
$1 billion on Clueless.
She probably got like $1 million, maybe.
Okay, so going back to Prince. So when you were young, somebody died, and you were like, oh, that sucks. They're not around anymore. As you get older,
Speaking of Prince, 8 Mile is the purple rain of this generation. Brittany
is
Murphy was
true.
I'm sorry.
that's sad.
Going back to Brady. Oh yeah, she fucked in that.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Continue.
Totally
Sorry.
fine. But yeah, as you get older, it's like when people start dying, you're like, oh shit, well, I'm next. Okay, well, I'm rapidly approaching that age.
Yeah.
And nothing can stop this train. And it's fucking scary sometimes, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I think about mortality all the time. It's hard for me to like unplug that in my brain sometimes.
Think about it this way, and I don't mean to get dark. Prince was 57. I'm 34. So
Your life is halfway over.
23 years, I could possibly die. I could die tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, at that early... Ooh, did my mic cut out?
Nope, I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, it's probably your headphones.
At that early of an age, 57's pretty young. I mean, that's young, right? I mean, it's not... It's young now. It was considered old before. Well, everything was old before. I remember being 18, and a 34-year-old, like, that's an old dude.
Dude, when I was 18 or 17, I worked at Subway, and there's a dude who's 22, and he like burned down Subway and stole the money, and like tried to cover up that he robbed the safe or whatever. And in my brain at 18, I was like, that dude's 22, he knows what he's doing. And at 32 right now, I'm like, that fucking kid didn't know shit, man.
No.
Think about how stupid you were when you were
So
22
dumb.
years old, man.
Dude, from like 18 to, I'm going to say 18 to like, well, fuck it, 15. From teenage years to probably 25. I was kind of dumb and did a lot of dumb shit. I was a shitbag. I did a lot of shitbag things.
Yeah, me too. I did things that I'm not proud of. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, you can write it off to being like, oh, you're just growing up.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But I did some shit that was just not cool. But the thing is I paled in comparison to a lot of people I knew.
Yeah.
I was always
Yeah.
I was always kind of a good boy,
Yeah.
but I was still a dickhead. I was a
Yeah.
little shithead. Like, it's weird, but going back to the death, the celebrity death or whatever you want to call it, I wonder, like, and I think about this all the time. Like, anytime the news comes out and it's like, oh, David Bowie died or Prince died.
Right.
The only thing I can think about is, as we get older, and then also as technology progresses, dude, just wait. Just wait until they really start fucking falling off. Because I feel like we're at this cusp right now. And I feel like as soon as we get over the break, dude, when Bill Clinton dies and when, you know, Tom Petty dies and Neil Young and all these iconic people,
yeah.
whoever it is,
They're all going to go.
dude, it's going to be a shitstorm.
And then
because
we're left with Justin Bieber,
we're left with,
Lady Gaga.
No, there's still good dudes out there. Like there are
That will be as iconic.
I
Like
I know people
Jay-Z maybe would be up there as iconic.
I'm down with Kanye, man. Even people hate Kanye. Like I feel like he's a like.
I think
for what it like, I feel like people are underrating him. Honestly, they're either overrating him or underrating him.
I think
but, like,
Kanye is doing a super genius thing.
yeah,
And he's being a character for people.
I feel
You know
like
what I mean?
that's partly it. Yeah, and like I feel like he's important. Like I feel like the things that he's doing are important.
Which I
in the way he
mean,
does.
from the start, from the jump, like
yeah,
you know, what was the Under the Wire or Behind the Wire? That shit?
yeah, that song.
Yeah, what his jaw was wired shut,
Yeah.
and he still did a rap, and it sounded tight.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say he's the perfect dude, but like none of these dudes are. Even
No.
the dudes are passing away. But like there's still good dudes. I mean, iconic level, that's hard to say.
Sure. What makes an icon, really?
Lucy K, he's gonna when he passes.
Shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a modern comedy icon, I
Yeah.
would say. But it's the same like when Gallagher dies.
Yeah.
I mean, oh man, I was going to point to my Gallagher
Oh, you
poster.
took Gallagher down.
I took it down because I was like, I don't want to make guests feel weird that this like 80s Gallagher VHS
Just 80s
poster.
racist
Yeah.
guys on my wall.
We got Duncan Trussell instead. now.
Justin Timberlake, I mean, he's pretty iconic now. And
Yeah,
he
but-
rose up the ranks though. Like
but
he's like I
JT is
respect him now.
JT is my age,
Yeah.
so it'll be a while. I mean, he's an in shape guy.
Fucking Conor Oberst for me, man. Like
Fuck.
oh man, he lives rough too.
Hey, when Chris Caraba goes, guys.
I'm cool.
My Carrera over here.
Oh, dude.
man. Okay, so let's play a little game here. Just see how this goes. Who's the next to go?
A celebrity?
Biggie.
Old?
Young,
Whoever.
old, but it's got to be a biggie.
I don't want to put that on any. I wouldn't know.
So it's like, are we doing like a celebrity death pool right now?
I mean, I'm not trying to put money on it, but like, who would you imagine might be the next to go?
I've always said Willie Nelson. But I think that dude is smoking enough weed.
He's just gonna turn into a redheaded pot plant eventually.
Does that have to be music?
Anything, a biggie. But it's got to be a biggie.
Marv Albert.
He's still alive?
I'm pretty sure.
Isn't that didn't he get in trouble for cross-dressing with a hooker in the 90s?
He got his job back. It's cool.
Oh, cool.
All is forgiven.
All's forgiven.
I'm gonna go. Not Marvel. I don't know.
Dude, and when not Judi Dench.
Not Marv Albert.
Who the fuck's Judi Dench?
She writes
Madame Judi Dench. She was M in the James Bond movies and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Helen Mirren. When Helen Mirren dies, man, that's gonna be a sad one.
She's two.
She's my old lady jerk off. I love it.
My old lady jerk off. I got two.
Heather Locklear. That's my old lady.
You guys aren't going old enough.
Helen Mirren's pretty old, dude.
Okay, true. I got two. Number one, Ringo Starr.
Fuck him.
The Last Beatle.
Okay, let me go back. I think Ringo Starr is going to be the last Beatle.
Yes.
So what I meant to say, and I
Paul McCartney. Fuck me, man.
Paul McCartney's. That's a good biggie. All right. So I got Paul McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to God he's eating enough vegetables that
he's vegetarian, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. Number two, Snoop Dogg.
Oh man.
What about the Rolling Stones, man? Like you could any of those dudes. I mean, it's like everybody always talks shit about how they're like
I don't think they're
long.
gonna die. I just don't. They made a deal with some entity that they're not going anywhere.
Steven Tyler.
I think that's a good one. But I think Keith Richards is already dead. I think he's been Weekend at Bernie's for the last 10 years. Like throw a Telecaster on him, cover him in Jack Sparrow garb, and just
play the hits.
Yeah, play the hits.
Like a Showbiz Pizza animatronic band.
Absolutely.
3D Tupac or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, who did you just say?
Steven Tyler.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. Because, man, he's looking like a fucking hippie grandma nowadays.
Yeah. He looks like a... Okay,
I haven't seen him in a while. I was listening to, Walk This Way the other day, and I was like, man, that dude was fucking old. I remember when I was in high school, my friend had a giant crush on him.
Have you seen the TV series on Netflix called Frank and Gracie?
No.
With Lily Tomlin.
I've heard of it. But
Lily Tomlin plays this old hippie lady, but when you see her, looks like Steven Tyler. Like she wears a frilly dress and a cut up Ramones t-shirt and a bunch of scarves, and she's like, that Steven Tyler looks like Lily Tomlin. Oh boy. Now, I'm not talking like Lily Tomlin back in the day.
Yeah.
Like now.
Yeah, and by playing this game, I don't want to hope for death. I mean, I don't want Paul McCartney to die.
Nah, for sure.
I want Ringo to die.
Fuck Ringo.
Not Paul McCartney.
No, Ringo is going to survive, and there's going to be much more Beatles merchandise. He's gonna do a Beatles show
with holograms.
Instead of doing
with their sons, man.
Instead of doing Sean Lennon,
Paul McCartney,
and George Harrison's son. Danny, I think his name is.
I think they would There's always that rumor that those kids are starting a band together, and there never are. But I bet if Paul McCartney started that band, I bet they would do it.
Yeah, for sure.
If Paul was in the band, for sure.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen. I don't want Paul McCartney to die first.
Well, it's we talked about this outside of the show. Josh and I went and saw Neil Young last year.
Yeah,
probably about a year ago.
Yeah, you're
and I'm a big Neil Young fan, always have been, and I really wanted to go to the show because we come to find out it was an electric. He was with Crazy Horse, which is his badass rockin' band, dad rock backing band from the 70s. Neil Young has two sides. He has his acoustic, pretty stuff, and he has this godfather of grunge kind of he really was grunge rock before it existed. This was early 80s.
Yeah.
He was revolting against metal and stuff, and you watch certain videos his song Fucking Up. He has a video for it, and it's Neil Young and Crazy Horse fucking up, and they're flannel shitty guitars playing in a warehouse. It looks grunge way before Nirvana came along.
Yeah.
So he has been called the godfather of grunge. Anyways, we found out he's playing in Tulsa, and that was bucket list for me.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta see Neil Young because he's getting fucking old. Dude came out with the full Crazy Horse band, all the original members, which I'm surprised they're all still alive because they're all they have their history with substance and shit. But he comes out and he plays for 2 hours, 2.5 hours? Probably?
Yeah, it was a long set.
Dude, fucking ripped the entire time, running around.
Not stopping, like song to song to song to song to song, like just killing it.
The dude rocked harder than I ever have or ever will in my life. And he's like 70 at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, dude, like, he's going to go. He's going to go. And the selfish side of me was like, I want to see him hold an electric guitar. I don't want to see him propped up on a stool with an acoustic, you know, like David Crosby or something. Yeah. Like, I want to see the dude rock. And it was fucking awesome. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
Well, that's why I went to one of the reasons I went to go see Springsteen. One, they were floor seats, and it was super fuck. He crowd surfed 3 times. A friend of mine, the girl, Diana's friend, went with us, grabbed his ass when he was crowd surfing. Like, kind of reverse sexism. You know, girls go up and crowd.
That's sexism for sure.
Yeah, she squeezes. But like, if I squeezed a girl's ass in a pit, I'd be labeled a fucking asshole. But it's the boss. But it was the same thing. Like,
it's cool. I'm cool with it. But yeah, that's the same thing.
The boss gonna go. I mean, he's looking good though. I mean, the dude's in fucking shape. Like, in shape.
Well,
Great
the dude
show.
plays for like, what, 3 hours?
It was a 3-hour fucking set. It was fucking amazing. He played so long that the venue, the Chesapeake, put the house lights up, and they were still playing. Like, we got to close this shit down. It's like, nah, I'm not done yet.
Well, could you imagine playing drums for 3 hours
Dude,
straight?
my fucking hands would hurt. Like, I practiced for like an hour and a half, and like my hands fucking hurt. We played 30-minute sets for a reason.
Weinberg was on point, dude. I get it. I get Springsteen playing 3 power chords on a Telecaster. Do that for 3 hours. But Weinberg playing drums for 3 fucking hours? His drum stool must be super comfortable.
Yeah.
And super smelly.
Oh, God. And he played in like a 3-piece suit, too, so.
How much would it take for you to go sniff that drum stool?
Weinberg seat? For free. Take me up there. I'll go.
Would you sniff his ass?
I sniff Weinberg's ass. The dude's great.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think playing 3 chords on a Telecaster for 3 hours, your fingers would be fucking raw by the end of it.
Your voice, man. The voice, too, man. Everything. Everything is terrible.
Going back to Prince, though, did you see the video of Springsteen and the E Street Band playing Purple Rain?
No.
Whew.
Was it cool?
They did a tribute that the day that the news came out. They did that night of their show. They did it. Man, kind of tear-jerking.
I saw David Gilmour. He was playing Comfortably Numb. And in the middle of the song, in the middle, like, solo and Comfortably Numb, like, the drummer just does this, like, and they did, like, a quick pause, and then he busts into the solo from Purple Rain, and, like, all the, you know, Pink Floyd always has the crazy lights and shit.
Yeah.
It was all purple and, like, crazy lasers and shit. And I was sitting at my desk at work watching this, had my headphones on, and I got teary-eyed, like, over David Gilmour playing a Prince solo. Yeah, I was like, what's wrong with me?
No, I noticed, like, it was a big one. I mean, going home, like, driving to work, home from work, all the billboards, those billboards that are electronic and change, I saw at least 10 different, like, R.I.P. Prince, you know, Purple One gone, like, crazy. Like, it's huge. It's very huge. Bigger than, I don't want to say bigger than Bowie, but definitely on the same level as Bowie.
Do you think it was bigger than Bowie, James?
I don't think it was, like, reaction-wise, people, like, I don't know, like my Facebook feed has been, like, equal parts, but, like, just different parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if, I feel like it was maybe a little bigger as far as seeing reaction.
I think more of a shock because of the age. I
Right.
mean, he was 50. Bowie was like 70 and had cancer. Like,
Right.
And he just put out that fuck. It's like he knew he was gonna die.
Well, from what I understand, that album was recorded when he knew he was going to die.
Have you heard it?
Yeah, it's fucking depressing.
Yeah.
It's like sad and dark and
It's his
creepy.
It's his like last will and testament. Like, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Bye, guys.
But I sometimes I wonder, like, was my perceived reaction to Prince dying, like, from the people online and whatnot, was it because they already got left-handed with Bowie and then, like, right-handed with Prince?
Get a haymaker with Prince.
You know, like, oh no. So, like, is there gonna be a fucking headbutt next?
Honestly, like, I know a lot of people, so, like, Lemmy, like, was on the same level on my feed.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Yeah. It's like,
well, especially with a lot of people that we hang out with.
yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like the Turbo Yugen guys and like all them,
Yeah.
like they're huge into like Motorhead and shit. Like, I'm a Motorhead fan. I honestly can't say that I know a lot of their work,
Right.
But I mean, punk rockers love them.
I know it was on Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Ace of Spades, man.
Yeah, man.
Fucking
cool.
Ace of Spades. I hear at work all the, like, one of the dudes I work with is, I'm pretty sure he's in his 50s, and he used to like bounce for Offspring, and he listens to that fucking song all the time. So like when Lemmy died, I felt it on Facebook. I felt it at work.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's coming up? So you have the Cowboy Bebop show.
Yeah, June 25th for that. I'm opening up for Greg Proops May 7th.
That's gonna be a great show.
Yeah.
Now where are they having that one at?
ACM.
ACM.
It's a 300 seat venue, 300 or 400.
Is that where the old Green Door was?
Yeah.
The
Have you not been there
Performance Lab?
yet?
I've been to the Performance Lab, but I haven't seen stand up.
Dude, it is a perfect spot for stand up. I've seen quite a few things.
It's almost perfect. Like some nights, I'm not gonna talk shit on the venue.
The Garofalo one sounded fucking great.
Okay, I mean, I was at the second or third show there, so like it's probably gotten better. They probably figured out some stuff.
Oh no, I was at like the first couple there, and it was a little iffy. It was dicey.
Yeah,
but it's gotten a lot better.
I miss the Contemporary Art Center. It's like my little home.
And they go back and forth. I don't know if they have a bar, because used to, like, when we would go to shows there, when they became ACM, like, you'd have to go to JJ's Alley to get a beer and then go back over. They either have Opolis or I think Slaughter's Hall doing drinks there, so you can drink there too. So
Opolis is getting a catering license soon, like a full catering license. So they'll have liquor in a minute too.
So yeah, no need to get drunk beforehand. You can drink there.
Awesome. And when was that again?
May 7th. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, May 7th.
OKCComedy.com. Check it out.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Good time.
Good second episode. Josh, thanks, man. And you want to plug this shit real quick?
The website again? You want to plug that again?
From the top, yeah.
From the top. And go to boyspodcast.com. Take you to links to Facebook, Instagram, all of our social media accounts. And you can also email us at boyspodcast@aol.com.